Well, Shannon, we are live on YouTube. We are not quite live on the radio, which is okay. We go live in approximately 3 minutes, almost exactly. But I always like to
Well,
get
Shannon,
on
we are live on
early
YouTube. We are
and
not quite
to talk
live
to you,
on the radio.
talk to my guests. You have some extra time to talk about what's on your mind. And I understand there's this great big meeting which everybody, at least Americans, should support. And it has to do with in Washington, D.C. We're going to be talking about it, but you're going to get over 1,000 Iranian scholars and activists. And from my understanding, what we've talked before is people who want a democracy in Iran. Is that correct?
Absolutely. This is the very landmark event. It's the first of its kind. It's a one-day convention, full-day convention on Saturday, November the 15th. As you said very correctly, more than 1,000 Iranian academicians, scholars, activists from all over the United States will be in Washington, D.C. to manifest the Iranian people's desire for regime change and also how to transform Iran to a democratic secular republic, and also how the transition would be, taking place. So it's a very, very important event, and very tellingly, there will be three generations of Iranians, which clearly manifest the deep desire of Iranians for a change. And actually, the day is set up in different panels, and each panel will address different issue. One is the
Now
crisis
we
that.
have just a minute and a half, so this is extra. We're going to cover the same stuff.
Sure.
But how did the meeting go in September? I understand there was also a meeting at the United Nations.
UN, exactly. No, they've had a big protest in front of the United Nations at a time that the UN General Assembly was taking place, and that went very well. There were thousands of Iranians on that occasion as well who had come from all over the United States, and they were protesting for 2 days, and for in the middle of the week. And again, that was also a great show of force and desire of Iranians, and that was a huge success, I should say.
We have 30 seconds. Well, we're waiting for the countdown. We're just going to go in at 4:02 in 50 seconds, and then we'll go live. We're going to go view speaker. We are live on YouTube, but we did that extra. So thank you.
Most welcome.
We are now live on WPAT 9:30 a.m. on your radio dial, live to over 10 million people in New York City. You sound so nice. We named it twice, New York, New York. So we're live to all of the boroughs. We're live to certain places in Jersey and even Pennsylvania and Connecticut. So 10 million people. I am Gary Scarano from the UnderDog Report, underdogreport.com. I am a reporter for Joe Hoff. I write a weekly blog for him, and I also do these radio interviews, which I always enjoy because it's people talking about freedom, people talking about conservative issues, and people talking about worldwide issues. And today we're talking about a worldwide issue with a good friend of mine. I've talked to him before, and I really appreciate what he has to offer, Shahin Godabi, and we're talking about Iran. So briefly, tell us about, there was a meeting, I guess I would call it a quote unquote protest in front of the United Nations. Everybody, a little bit of background. He is, and his organization is supporting a democratic Iran. The people of Iran want democracy. However, the people in charge, I think they call them the mullahs, is that correct?
Absolutely.
They are trying to keep power to themselves. And what that is doing is limiting the freedom of the Iranian people. So he and your organization is scheduling a gigantic event with over 1,000 journalists and experts, Iranian, coming up. Tell us about that in November.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, your beautiful show, and in particular for having me in your show. And I hope in the meantime you have had a very, very good and prosperous time, and all your good listeners.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Regarding what's happening in Washington, D.C. on this Saturday, November the 15th, there will be the first convention of Iranians who live in the United States, who will be coming to D.C. from literally all over the United States, 3 generations. And as you mentioned, academicians, professors, activists, people from all walks of life, to basically manifest the readiness of the Iranian people for regime change by themselves, and also to talk about the transition and how would it take place and what comes after. And as I mentioned, it's the first convention of its kind. So in that sense, it's a landmark event, it's a historical event, and it's a full day event, November the 15th. The day is made of several panel discussions.
That's a Saturday. That's a
Yes,
Saturday, November 15th. Mark it. 1,000 scholars, activists. Now, by the way, just so everybody knows, it's RSVP only at this event and only for media. So it's not for the general public. Is that correct?
yes, but the good thing is it would be streamlined live through ncrus.org, ncrius.org. ncrius.org is a website of the representative office of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, which is the coalition of Iranian democratic opposition movements. And that's the one which is organizing the event. And
I'm
exactly,
showing that website right here. Free Iran Convention. Here it is, A Path to Democracy.
exactly. And it is in its Twitter account, the event would be live streamed. So people can go and watch it. It starts from, as I said, early hours of the Saturday, November 15th, and goes all the way to the afternoon. And
now, if people want to see what we're talking about, we're live on YouTube at the Underdog Report. So just go there at the Underdog Report on YouTube, and you can be able to see what I'm showing here, which is the Free Iranian Convention of 2025. Go ahead, Shahin.
And as I said, it will be broadcast live streamed through the Twitter account of the NCRI US account on X, or previously called Twitter. And as you can see, there will be several panel discussions, each designated for a particular topic. One is about the crisis facing the regime, and as you can see, it's going to be a huge event like this. One would be about the role of women and how, from being oppressed, they, over the years, were transformed to be the main force for change. And that's a very interesting discussion of its own. And then there will be the role of youth in Iran, and what do the Iranian youth want, and that will be one panel. One panel is basically about the voices of change, and that will be several Iranian very, very well-established academicians who will be addressing how the transition will take place and how does Iran will become prosperous. And then there will be
I see Mrs. Marianne Rajavi.
Rajavi. Yes.
I did interview her. She was very interesting. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
And she is the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. And as I said, and one panel will be the voices from Iran, which is the voices of the activists who were in the recent uprisings in Iran, or the people who have directly suffered. That's a first-hand experience sharing with the audience. And in the afternoon session, there will be international dignitaries who will join, Americans and Europeans who will join. So, as I said, it's a very, very unique event. There has never been anything like this before, and it comes at a very, very crucial moment.
NCRIUS.org.
Exactly, that's the website. NCR.
I'm sorry, November 15th, live. Now, you're talking about a roadmap for change, to change the structure to that. How is that going to work? That's not an easy thing to happen.
Not at all, but you have to remember that the Iranian people have been fighting for this for more than 4 decades. Obviously, the National Council of Resistance of Iran and its main component, known as the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran, which is the main Iranian resistance movement, has been battling for this for the last 45 years, and obviously 45 years is a long time. And
Yes.
in the course of this long time, some 120,000 Iranians have sacrificed their lives, and hundreds of thousands who have been incarcerated and have been tortured by this regime. So the
That's an important number. How many thousands have been killed?
120,000 Iranians
Have been killed for
by the regime,
trying to speak about freedom?
of course, and to change the regime, to overthrow it, to establish a democratic secular republic. Obviously, these Iranians reject both the previous dictatorship of the Shah, which was a monarchy and a dictatorship, and obviously they reject the current theocracy. They want to establish a secular democratic republic.
So, Sharon, we
120.
have about, I know these are quick fire interviews. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I do respect you greatly. I love what you stand for. We want a free Iran. We don't want a nuclear Iran. You stand for that. Just give me a couple of seconds. We're going to our next guest. Give me a closing thought.
Basically, the point on Saturday would be that Iran is the cusp of a major change. Iranians want to overthrow the regime and establish a democratic republic. And Madam Mariam Rajavi, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, has articulated a 10-point plan, which is the roadmap for the future of Iran. So in that sense, November the 15th will be an important day to mark in people's calendar. And please watch online so you get a better sense of what the Iranians have to share.
Thank you very much. November 15th. Thank you. Good. And we appreciate it. We'd love to hear more from you. Hopefully, we'll hear some great events. Good day, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Hello, Adam. How are you?
I'm excellent. How you doing, Gary?
Great. Thank you so much for joining me. I love that Liberty safe in the background. You have loads of money there. I'm sure it's all $100 bills.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining. We're going to talk to you about a number of different things, but I'm very excited about your book, the Alpha Blueprint, which is pretty neat. And we're talking about pipe bombs, right? Let's take a look at that book. I want to show people, which I think this is an urgent issue. And there's been in the news lately that they've identified the person who was a Capitol police officer, a female, literally placing the bombs. You know a lot more about this. Tell us about your book and tell us about these pipe bombs, Adam.
Sure. Well, actually, I don't know about the pipe bombs, whether or not they were inert, whether or not they were active, but I will say that it appears that if this individual, which, I mean, judging by what I've seen online and stuff, there's a lot of smoke there. I wouldn't be surprised if there was fire, if they actually are correct about who the individual is as a former, DC Capitol Police officer. I I was there on January 6th, and I will say that it was pretty apparent that there were bad actors implanted in the crowd. It was mostly.
Did you go into the Capitol, Adam?
I did not. I did not go into the Capitol.
Were you arrested or were you attacked in any way?
No, I was not arrested or attacked. In fact,
God bless you.
I was there with my wife, a couple of our friends. We had a great time. I mean, we walked from the Washington Monument down to the Capitol to make our voices heard and to protest peacefully and exercise our First Amendment right as free speech. And and there was not the vibe of that day was not one of violence, and the crowd there was not one that was proposing violence.
I mean, I had friends there. They agree with you 100%.
You had parents pushing kids in strollers, people singing hymns, old people literally, being helped down. I mean, it was as mom and freedom and apple pie as you can get. But you would have these agitators that would like try and stir people up in the crowd, and the crowd's overwhelming response was like, "Hey, that's not what we're here for. Shut up, sit down, get back in line, whatever." Like, we're not looking to stir the pot like that. We're trying to make our voices heard. And so the whole thing in my mind was just a massive manipulation on the part of the deep state. Whether or not this woman, if she actually was a pipe bomber, worked for the Capitol Police. Whether or not that's true or that's more nonsense, I don't know, but it sure seems to be true. And I mean, all I know is that they could arrest every single person that was within a quarter-mile radius of the Capitol based on their cell phones and history and all this other tracking stuff. Yet you can't find somebody who's got literally who's on camera, camera to camera to camera to camera, planting these bombs, and you can't figure out who that person is for 5 years. Give me a break. So it
But
seems to me just more
just
deep
to give you
state
some back, I
nonsense.
want to give some. You're a former CIA operations officer, aren't you?
Correct.
You have some unique experience in this stuff. It's not just
Yeah.
your opinion here. You have some training and understanding.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't pass. It doesn't even pass the common sense test. It's like finding a baggie of cocaine near the Oval Office and wondering, oh gosh, where could this have possibly come from? I mean, it's not. There's not a long list of suspects there. You know, it's like
Duh.
it's like can we please can the kids sit down and let the adults come to the table finally? It's very hard to put up with the nonsense as an adult in a world of lies that we live in. But in fact, that's actually why I wrote the book. Like I wrote the Alpha Blueprint because I said my kids are growing up in a world that is literally full of lies. They're being lied to about everything, whether it's Epstein Island or, WMD in Iraq or Tower 7 falling on its own or Hurricane Crossfire or, now what is it? The newest one, Arctic Forge or whatever it was. I mean, there's just more political scandals than ever. And it is a world that is based on nonsense and truth is suppressed, it seems to be at all cost by the powers that be, all in the name of maintaining control over population, getting people to comply with a narrative, and shouting down anyone that would step outside of that narrative. And so I go into all those kinds of things in the book, and I explain to kids, hey, in fact, every chapter is written starting with the words "Dear kids," and it's written from the father's perspective towards his kids, towards the next generation, and it's put together in a way where it's supposed to be accessible for families to sit down and crack open these conversations with their children. Because I think that this is the
Adam,
most,
this is so important because you know
yeah,
that the millennials today, the young kids, they're on their phone all the time. Most of them grow up hating America, feeling guilty for being white, very much woke ideology, no understanding of American history. Tell me why your book is going to address those things.
yeah, well, it doesn't address all those things because it is a quick read, but I will say that it addresses the big issues, which is that AI has in essence democratized PhD level intelligence for 20
Yeah.
bucks a month. So now everybody is driving the equivalent of an intellectual, Lamborghini or a Ferrari. And so if that's the case, then the question becomes, how do you as an individual maintain your own individual God-given creativity, your own individual spark, and how do you not become a copy of a copy, especially in a world where, they're trying to just make you go along with the program or the system or whatever else, or take the shot, or get in line, or stay 6 feet apart, or accept a social credit system, or don't worry about the digital currency that they're going to roll out, mark of the beast, all these things. And so what I get into in the book is a whole series of real practical things that parents and kids can do and look at to say, okay,
How
I'm
can
figuring out how
somebody
to
buy? How can we
discern
get the
truth.
book, Adam? Where can someone buy that book?
Yeah, Amazon.com. It's the Alpha
Amazon got
Blueprint.
the Alpha Blueprint. We're kind of coming to the end. I know these are quick fire interviews. I
That's all
apologize.
right. It's all
I
good.
wish I could spend some more time with you. Actually, I can spend some more time with you because my other guest is missing. So we'll continue on this until he shows up. We're waiting for one other person.
Good news for me.
Yes,
So, yeah, well, so I mean, back to your question before too about kind of the world of lies that we're in. I address it and I lay out um, real simple ways that kids and parents can learn when they are being manipulated and when they're being lied to. Like take for example, COVID. COVID was the biggest coordinated information operation I've ever seen. Uh,
absolutely.
the global response to it. I'm not saying that the disease wasn't real, that the pandemic wasn't real. What I'm
It
saying
wasn't
is,
as bad as they said it was. That's for
yeah,
sure.
right. But I'm also, yeah. I mean, it's like you're talking about a disease profile that's going to impact, or I'm sorry, have real negative effects of less than 1% of the entire population. And they act like it's Chicken Little and the sky is falling. But all of that was designed as a tool of control. And
Absolutely.
it was kind of a test
Absolutely.
run to see like, okay, who's going to comply, who's
By the
not
way,
going to
Adam, do you
comply.
have a website?
I don't have a website yet, but I'll
Okay.
have one soon.
All right.
So
If you need help,
I
I'll help you out. I do websites.
thanks. You know what, Gary? I used to have my company website is rhsusa.com, but that company is officially going under and has been destroyed by the very deep state that I fought against. And we got smacked down because we went against the COVID narrative. And I built a telehealth platform for about 500 healthcare providers that had been fired for refusing the jab or bending the knee to the mandates and the lockdowns. And so we gave them a place to see patients, and we saw about 10,000 patients for COVID. And I will tell you, not a single one of them ended up in the ER or the ICU, and none of them ended up dead.
Wow,
So
that's fantastic.
I would challenge any hospital system to report the same, and they can't.
I
Um,
I have a question for you that's dear and deep to my heart. It's not in your background, but I, in my heart of hearts, would wish that the American churches and Christians would be more involved in these issues because things like uh, elections count, things like lies count.
yeah.
And I think that if they were more involved in this process, we would get less of this horrible stuff. But it just seems like there's silence. Do you have an input on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got this disease within, frankly, the organized church system, I would say, where it's a relativistic look on life, and it's okay. We'll put some LGBT coloring on the steps as you walk in because we accept everybody, and Jesus did accept everybody, right? I mean, it's okay. We all can live in this relativistic, morally fungible world, and we don't have to worry about it. Well, no, that's not the case. Jesus would have said, this isn't for you. Change your ways and sin no more. I forgive you. I love you. But, this is not the path that I have for you, you know? And I would say those who are preaching, the DEI sort of woke narrative, I mean, God even talks about it in the Bible and it's woe to you, you know,
Whoa,
woe
Joe.
to you. It would be better for you to have had a millstone put around your neck and dropped into the sea. It would be better for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of reckoning than it would be for you, for anyone who leads any one of these little ones astray.
Thank you.
So I'm not a
I'm gonna,
theologian and I'm not a minister, but
no,
I've got
no,
an
God
opinion.
bless you. We're kind of coming to the end. I've got to get to my next guest, but I do want to ask, as an ex CIA operative, I know everything is this top secret, but is there anything you can share, even in general, about your experience with the CIA? There's a lot of concerns about the CIA these days.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can share?
I will say I absolutely loved being part of it. I absolutely also despised the senior political establishment that would obfuscate the truth. And I mean, you read the reports about how information was held back from the president or is lied to and deceived. I mean, you've got 51 intelligence officials saying that Trump, is Russia, 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 and all this stuff. I mean, the problem is not at the operator level. The problem is not with your God-fearing patriots that are trying to do the right thing and going out and fighting for God and country and mom and freedom and apple pie. The problem is when you have installed political leaders that put party above their duty and above the oath of office.
Well, thank
That's
you
the
very
problem.
much. Appreciate it. I know these are quick fire. Adam Hardage, go to buy his book at Amazon, The Alpha Blueprint. It's a blueprint for the America. It's a blueprint for the young people. It's a blueprint to understand the value of understanding our history and understanding what's valuable. I wish we had more time, Adam. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless, Gary. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Stephen, my good friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, it's always a pleasure. This is your first time on Wednesday. We usually meet on Tuesday. You have your own special time all to yourself, but today we're sharing. But you got a little bit of extra time because one of our good friends didn't show up, and I don't know why, even though I spoke to him. I love your new hat. Is that a new hat?
No, that's the same one I've always been wearing.
You got the cross there. I love it. So I met you. I was there, I think, 2 months ago or last month in San Antonio. You came down to visit me. We had lunch together. I had a great time, and I really appreciate it. What we have quick interviews, Stephen. We got 5 minutes. You are Gun Owners of America, gunowners.org. I'll show that website. It's gunowners.org. And tell us what's on your mind today.
Well, we're fighting this thing with Hawaii, where Hawaii has said that the spirit of aloha overrides the Second Amendment, and they were forced to have permits to carry. And they said, okay, fine. You have to have training to have permits, and nobody's qualified to train. And that's their way out of it. And so we are filing lawsuits and stuff. We can't let states just decide that they don't want to recognize things that are parts of the Bill of Rights. The United States, the Constitution is the supreme law of our country, and the Bill of Rights are extended to all states.
Well,
And the Second
I think
Amendment,
Stephen. It's kind of insane that any state could say the history of our people overrides the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. Listen, those are the foundations of this country. I'm sure you agree. No, I just can't imagine the Supreme Court supporting such a wild idea that a state could just pick and choose what doesn't stand for them. Am I couching that in the correct words?
well, and of course they're in the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit is very liberal, you know,
They're better later than they used to be, just so you know.
but they're very liberal, and so but even that, I doubt that the Ninth Circuit is going to agree with them. But if it does, we'll fight it all the way to the Supreme Court. We can't allow that to start. And if that's the case, then what about all the rest of the Bill of
Well,
Rights? What about
you
the
you
freedom
could
of
say, hey, I'm in Texas and I don't believe I believe in segregation. I don't believe in that amendment, so we're going to ignore that and we're going to segregate certain people. I mean,
or
that's a horrible precedent.
freedom of speech, freedom of religion? Hawaii could say, "Oh, we're going to stay with the original Hawaiian gods or whatever." And if you don't, it's part of the Bill of Rights. And
That's a
it's not the
second
bill.
amendment of this. It's a second amendment to the
Yeah,
Constitution.
well, it's not the bill of suggestions,
Right.
and the Second Amendment isn't a second class right, you know.
Uh,
So
Tell us about history where countries have taken away people's rifles, people's guns. What has happened in those countries?
well, all the way back, the Russian Revolution. Most people don't understand the Russian Revolution. More people died in the Russian Revolution than in Nazi Germany,
How
and
many people died in the Russian Revolution?
millions, millions,
I think it's 30 million. I believe that's the number.
and so the very first thing they did is they took away their right to own guns, and then they started major genocide. And then, of course, everybody knows the Second World War with Nazi Germany, and they picked up guns again. The government made them illegal, and then they started mass genocide, killing the Jewish people. And, it goes right on to Mao Zedong in China. And, human nature never changes. When you give a government that much power, it corrupts them, and they decide that they're in control and you must do what they want you to do, and they enslave you and stuff. And that's what human nature does, and our founding fathers were wise enough to know that, and wise enough to give us the Bill of Rights to be able to combat the government if it were ever to get tyrannical. Hopefully, the threat is enough to keep it from going tyrannical.
Well, if you take people's guns away, what's the reason to doing that? Because guns don't kill people, people kill people, and good gun owners help others. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about your experience so people know that. And we're off the air of radio, but we're still on at YouTube, so you can join us at YouTube at the Underdog Report. So I want to cover that with you. Stephen, you're a hero. There was an incident where this crazed person went into a church. You're next door to you and started shooting, killed more than 20 people. You were outside. You had no shoes on. You ran inside. You got your rifle. You came out, and the last thing you can imagine in the broad daylight on a Sunday, there you are in a gunfight. This is the OK Corral. He shot, we're going to guess, about 10 shots at you. It hit the car in front of you, someone over your head, and you hit him 6 times. 2 of them were serious, one was just a graze, but you stopped the killing, and you're a hero for that. The point I'm making, Stephen, and I want you to expound on this briefly, is that good people with guns protect the American people.
Well, and criminals, they don't care about all the laws that you make. And for you to think that you can just ban guns and then criminals won't get guns anymore. Look at what happened in France, where, several times they've been hit with terrorists that come in with full automatic AK-47s and murder people. Criminals are going to get guns, and that's just the way it is. And it's better for law-abiding citizens to be able to carry also. 93% of all mass shootings happen in gun-free zones. So murderers go to gun-free.
93% of all
Mass shootings.
mass shootings have happened in gun-free zones.
And
Because if there's nobody like you there, there's no risk. And by the time you call police, they could come 20, 25 minutes later, correct? How many people can you kill in 25 minutes with an automatic rifle?
Sutherland Springs, the reaction time from the first 911 call till police showed up was 19 minutes.
Wow. And 24 people were dead by that time.
26.
What, 26?
Yes.
Wow. And you stopped it. It would have been much worse.
Yes, he injured 20 more people. He was finishing people off. So, and really interesting statistic also is if you think police are just the ultimate in stopping everything, again, they were 19 minutes after the first 911 call. National average, police in a shootout fire 24 rounds in a shootout, national average. And you want to take a guess of what the percentage of hits fired are?
I've heard this before. I don't remember the number, but it's relatively low.
17%.
17%.
17% of shots, all shots fired by police officers actually hit the target.
Well, God bless you. We're coming to an end here, Stephen. God bless you because you fired 6 times and you hit your target 6 times. Thank God he fired 10 times and he did not hit his target. So you're still here to talk to me. You're my good friend, Stephen. It was great to have lunch with you and spend some time. Thank you for reading my book. I want to hear your thoughts about it. Thank you for the emblem you gave me. And I look forward to
gunowners.org.
gunowners.org. That's the website I showed you, gunowners.org. Thank you.